Hello, and thank you for visiting my channel, Magnetic Desire. I'm filled with joy. Today, you are here because of what we are doing. Things that are about to be discussed are things that causes practically every individual to be perplexed, and it's not what the majority of men are told. Should you ever have it seemed as though she was withdrawing and acting unapproachable, or sending you conflicting messages, one could have the assumption that she is losing interest. I'm going to tell you something that might surprise you. She's not losing interest. She's fighting feelings, and that's a significant difference. Let me be genuine with you. Women don't always act in ways that are easy to read. Sometimes she wants to feel near, but she's frightened of getting wounded. Sometimes she's pulled to you, but she's struggling with questions or old worries. And sometimes she's attempting to figure out if the attraction she feels is worth acting on. When you misjudge her conduct as disinterest, you overthink, panic, or push too hard. And that's when problems really go wrong. Understanding the psychology behind this conduct is a game changer. When a woman pulls back or seems distant, it doesn't suggest she's tuning out emotionally. It typically means she's feeling something strong but complicated, and her mind is attempting to catch up with her heart. That push and pull you're experiencing, that's not confusion. It's her internal conflict, a battle between desire and caution. Once you perceive things this way, the frustration lessens, and you start responding in ways that truly build relationship instead of creating stress. By the end of this video, you're going to see her actions differently. You'll learn why she steps back, why she comes forward, and how to spot the signs that she's still emotionally invested even when she seems distant. More crucially, you'll grasp how to respond in ways that make her feel safe, curious, and truly captivated. So let's plunge in and pull back the curtain. She's not losing interest. She's fighting feelings, and knowing that alters everything. Why she acts distant even when she cares. 1. Why she acts distant even when she cares. You've probably spotted it before. She's kind, attentive, and clearly interested one day, and the next she's distant, silent, or less responsive. Most men quickly assume she's losing interest, but that's nearly never the truth. Women often act distant when they're coping with contradicting emotions, when desire and prudence are fighting inside her. She might care deeply about you, but at the same time she's questioning if she should totally invest, whether she's ready to open up or whether her feelings are strong enough to act on. Her distance isn't a lack of interest, it's her way of digesting all the complicated feelings swirling in her mind. Sometimes the retreat is subtle. Maybe she takes longer to reply to messages, looks preoccupied when you're together, or doesn't initiate as much as before. Men often misread this as an indication that she's checked out, but in truth, she's still emotionally engaged. She's simply trying to balance what she feels with what she wants to do. Women feel feelings more deeply and often more rapidly than males realize. So when a woman steps back, it's her way of ensuring that her feelings are congruent with her conduct. Men who overreact in these instances, texting too much, pressuring her, or seeking to force clarity, generally push her further away, even though she still cares. I remember one scenario wherein perfectly illustrates this. I was dating a person who was attentive and charming, and at first everything felt effortless. But after a few weeks, I found myself taking a step back. I didn't stop liking him or lose attraction. I was just working through my feelings, trying to balance my desire with caution. I replied texts more slowly, canceled a plan or two, and built a little space to think. If he had panicked or pressed me, I probably would have felt suffocated and pulled even further away. The men who grasp this, however, view the space as an emotional indication rather than a rejection. They maintain confidence, respect her boundaries, and allow her to process her feelings without pressure. Here's the key takeaway. Her distance is rarely about you being insufficient or unappealing. It's a representation of her internal emotional conflict, a confrontation between passion, prudence, and her need for clarity. Men who misread it often make the mistake of chasing, over-explaining, or panicking, which only heightens her emotional strain. The men who succeed observe the trends, respond thoughtfully, and keep their confidence. When you recognize that her distance is about her fighting feelings, not losing interest, it alters everything. You start responding in ways that deepen connection, establish appeal, and allow her to feel safe sharing her emotions, honestly. 2. The emotional tug-of-war. The emotional tug-of-war inside her. When a woman seems distant or inconsistent, it's rarely random. She's not attempting to play games or confuse you. She's navigating an internal fight between desire and doubt. Women experience emotions on numerous levels at once, and it's usual for her mind and heart to clash. She may desire to be close and connect intimately, but at the same time, she might be questioning her thoughts, her timing, or the potential consequence of the relationship. That push and pull is her way of absorbing everything, and it's why she might seem hot one time and chilly the next. This internal conflict is natural and common. She might be excited by how you make her feel, but frightened of susceptible or drawn to your energies while concurrently worrying about getting harmed. These conflicted sentiments don't mean she's losing interest. They mean she's human. Women often fight their feelings when anything feels too intense, too fast, or when they're unsure if their emotions are safe. Understanding this helps guys perceive her actions as an indicator of engagement rather than rejection. When you know that her distance is part of an emotional process, it becomes easier to stay grounded and respond in techniques that retain attraction. Another crucial thing is that her battle is influenced by how you show up. Women observe vigor, consistency, and emotional steadiness. If you're inconsistent, reactive, or unduly clinging, it can emphasize her internal battle, making her pull back more frequently. Conversely, if you remain confident, present, and patient, you giving her thoughts the space it needs to reconcile her feelings. Men often misinterpret moments of stillness or reluctance as loss of interest, but in fact, these pauses are her means of testing the emotional connection, observing how you handle space, and evaluating if she can trust her own sentiments with you. Finally, it's crucial to recognize that this emotional tug-of-war isn't a show of weakness or indecision on her part. It's an expression of how strongly she feels and how much she's invested in protecting herself while navigating attraction. When you start noticing her conduct via this viewpoint, you cease panicking, chasing, or trying to control her emotions. You begin answering with patience, respect, and emotional intelligence, which actually strengthens the connection. Her fight isn't against you. It's a war with her own emotions, and the men who succeed are the ones that realize that and adjust accordingly. 3. Why mixed messages? Why mixed signals don't mean confusion, don't mean misunderstanding. One of the biggest misunderstandings men have is thinking that mixed signals mean she's confused or losing interest. That's rarely true. Women can feel strong attraction and still hesitate. It's a natural element of processing emotions. The instances when she seems distant or distracted are often occasions when her mind is catching up with her heart. She's not attempting to push you away. She's trying to sort through her own emotional landscape. Understanding that these signals represent internal strife, not rejection, is the first step towards viewing her behavior plainly. Women also react to emotional intensity differently than men. She may feel strongly about you, but pull back slightly to avoid feeling overwhelmed. When a lady draws back, it's often because she's fighting feelings that are too strong to act on impulsively. She's considering if her feelings are safe, whether she's ready to fully invest, and whether her attraction aligns with her values and boundaries. Men who misread this as indifference usually chase or pressure her, which amplifies the push-pull cycle. Recognizing that the pullback is about emotional modulation, not rejection, allows you to remain calm, confident, and responsive in a way that sustains attraction. Another crucial aspect to understand is that women often utilize subtle hints to communicate their personal battle. She may establish contact sometimes, although respond slowly at other moments, or demonstrate friendliness in person while being reserved over communications. These aren't contradictions, they are signals. She's showing you that she's engaged, inquisitive, and judging her feelings at the same moment. Men who overlook or misinterpret these cues often end up overanalyzing, panicking, or striving to control her behavior. Men who succeed notice patterns, respect her emotional cycle, and answer thoughtfully. That's how you maintain connected while she navigates her internal conflict. Finally, it's crucial to realize that battling feelings doesn't mean she's unsure of you in the long term. It merely indicates she's human and emotionally self-aware. She wants to act on her attractiveness, but is also guarding herself from jumping in or making choices she isn't ready to commit to emotionally. Men who comprehend this respond with patience, confidence, and consistency, rather than chasing or questioning her constantly. When you internalize this perspective, you stop perceiving her distance as rejection and start seeing it as a guide to how she feels, what she needs, and how to keep the link alive. The mixed signals become a roadmap, not a puzzle. 4. How her heart battles her. How her heart battles her. Mind. When a woman seems distant or uneven, it's generally because her heart and her mind are in conflict. She may experience genuine attraction, enthusiasm, and affection. Yet at the same time, she's assessing dangers, past experiences, and whether she should open herself up completely. This internal battle doesn't mean she's losing interest. It means she's human and self-protective. Men often misread this as disinterest, but the reality is that her emotions are layered. She's still engaged, still interested, and still striving to reconcile what she feels with what she wants to do. Her thoughts might act as a filter for her feelings. Even when her heart wants to be close, her thoughts may raise questions. Am I moving too fast? Does he really respect me? Can I trust my feelings with him? These thoughts can cause her to pull back slightly, provide space, or be less emotive. Men who don't comprehend this often interpret her reluctance as rejection, which causes overthinking, pursuing, or trying to force clarity. Men who grasp that her pullback is about alignment, not attraction, stay calm, present, and purposeful, which really strengthens her attention rather than reducing it. Another key thing to realize is that her emotional war is not static. It changes moment by moment. Some days she might feel entirely at peace and openly affectionate, whereas other days she could look aloof or restrained. These shifts aren't random. They reflect how she is processing her feelings internally. Men who notice these subtle changes, appreciate them, and retain their own steady energy build a sense of emotional safety. That safety allows her to participate more fully over time, which is why patience, attentiveness, and self-control are more effective than seeking or demanding attention. Finally, it's crucial to recognize that her emotional push and pull is not a reflection of your value. It's a natural mechanism for women to navigate desire, caution, and vulnerability simultaneously. The men who succeed in relationships with women who battle feelings are the ones who observe, respond carefully, and sustain confidence without trying to control her emotional rhythm. They comprehend that the conflict is internal, not a critique of them, and they use this information to strengthen attraction and connection. Seeing her heart and mind as two sides of the same coin makes her actions predictable in a healthy way, and it transforms frustration into clarity and strategy. When space is her way of processing you. 5. When space is her way of processing you. Sometimes a woman draws back not because she's losing interest, but because she needs room to sort out her emotions. Men typically regard this as a red flag, but it's actually a sign that she's emotionally involved. When she steps back, she's allowing herself room to process what she feels, appraise the connection, and reconcile her heart with her mind. She's thinking about what she desires, how invested she's willing to be, and whether her feelings accord with her intuition. The remoteness is her means of controlling intensity, not a rejection of you. I remember an instance that showed this perfectly. I was dating a man I absolutely liked, and at first everything felt effortless. Fun chats, laughs, and continual connection. But after a couple of weeks, I started replying slower to texts and occasionally canceled plans. It wasn't because my interest had faded. I was just feeling overwhelmed by my own emotions and needed to reflect. I wanted to be close, but I also needed to see if I could trust myself to act on my feelings without rushing or getting wounded. If he had reacted with frustration or pressure, I would have pulled further away. Instead, the men who understand this keep their confidence, respect her space, and let her navigate her feelings without intervention. Her pullback is also a test of emotional intelligence. Women often judge how males handle their space and independence. If you respect her distance, stay anchored. When retain your own vitality, she feels safe and more likely to open up again. If you panic, overanalyze, or chase excessively, it increases fear and makes her recede further. Recognizing that space is part of her process helps males respond in ways that strengthen the connection rather than weaken it. She's still invested, still intrigued, and still fighting feelings. The space just offers her mind the clarity it needs. The essential takeaway is that as she pulls back, it's rarely personal. She's handling emotions that feel bigger than herself and assessing whether she's ready to completely engage. Men who understand this respond wisely, sustain confidence, and let the natural rhythm to unfold. They don't overthink, pressure, or misread her conduct. They see the distance as communication rather than rejection. When you start viewing space this way, you stop stressing and start constructing a place where she can embrace her feelings fully, deepening the link instead of undermining it. Her fight with her feelings becomes a bridge to deeper link, not a barrier. 6. How men can stay attractive while she sorts herself out. Can stay lovely while she sorts herself out. One of the biggest blunders males make when she pulls back is thinking that more attention, more messages, or more effort will rectify the distance. It doesn't. When a lady is fighting her, sensations overcompensating only messages insecurity and neediness. What she truly notices is how you maintain your confidence, independence, and emotional stability. Men who stay anchored while she processes her emotions not only maintain attraction, they actually raise it. She's observing how you manage yourself, and that's significantly more important than how many SMS you send or how often you see her. Consistency and reliability are crucial. While she's sifting through her feelings, she's paying attention to patterns. Are you emotionally solid, or do you overreact to slight shifts? Do you respect her space, or do you pressure her for answers? Women notice these details subconsciously, and your ability to stay balanced creates security and intrigue at the same time. The men who succeed comprehend that attraction isn't about managing her conduct. It's about exhibiting emotional maturity and steadiness, which helps her feel protected and keeping her intrigued even while she's conflicted. Another thing males often overlook is the importance of maintaining their own life. While she's finding out her feelings, you need to emphasize on your goals, friendships, and passions. Independence is alluring. It shows that your value isn't contingent on her replies or attention. When a woman sees that you're living fully confident, being content in your own life, it helps her resolve her internal conflict because she isn't terrified of losing you. She's motivated to overcome her feelings because she acknowledges your worth. Men who melt emotionally during her distance risk diminishing attraction and strengthening her suspicions. Finally, recall that patience is active, not passive. It's not about waiting aimlessly. It's about remaining involved, confident, and intentional without trying to force her emotions. Respond attentively, respect her space, and retain your own energy. This approach proves that you're strong, self-aware, and capable of dealing emotional complexity. All attributes women find irresistible. When you master this, her fight with her feelings becomes a natural rhythm rather than a source of worry. You're no longer reacting blindly. You're responding strategically, which keeps her emotionally invested and brings her closer over time. 7. How to respond. How to respond without losing attraction. Without losing attractiveness. Here's a truth most men don't want to hear. If you panic when she pulls back, you're going to push her further away. Women notice insecurity quickly, and it's one of the fastest methods to kill attraction. When she steps back, it's not a test to deceive you. It's her way of digesting her feelings while keeping a sense of control. Men who overreact, overextend, or try to force explanations are effectively offering her a cause to doubt the link. The key is staying confident, composed, and emotionally present, even when she seems distant. That's what draws her in rather than repels her. Many males assume that more attention or further effort will fix her distance. The truth is, the opposite is typically true. Women are drawn to males who remain grounded and independent while she navigates her feelings. If you chase or pressure, you foster the very doubts she's battling internally. The men who succeed are those who recognize that her pushback is about her personal conflict, not a reflection of your worth. They respect her space while keeping involved, exhibiting patience, stability, and reliability, qualities that naturally preserve and even increase attractiveness. Another unpleasant truth. If you don't reflect on your own conduct, this pattern will repeat. Her conflict with feelings is often triggered by how males show up emotionally. If you're inconsistent, reactive, or needy, she will feel uncertainty and pull back more often. The wake-up call here is straightforward. Stop criticizing her or overanalyzing every communication. Instead, focus on yourself, your presence, your energy, and your confidence. Learn to respond deliberately, respect her emotional rhythm, and keep your freedom. Growth stems from self-awareness and the ability to control her push-pull without losing yourself in the process. Finally, the men who actually succeed comprehend that hot and cold behavior is a window into her feelings, not a puzzle to be solved. They accept that her pullback is inevitable, that her fight with feelings is transient, and that their answer sets the tone for the connection. When you keep collected, respect boundaries, and keep your worth, she can navigate her emotions without fear of losing you. Men who master this don't just survive her push and pull, they thrive, developing desire and trust and turning her personal struggle into a bridge for stronger connection rather than a barrier. Here's the reality I want conclusion you to walk away with. She's not losing interest. She's fighting feelings. When a woman steps back, slows down, or seems far, it's rarely about you failing or not being enough. It's about her handling her own feelings, protecting herself, and attempting to make sense of the attraction she feels. Most guys misread this fully, overreact, and end up pushing her further away. Understanding the psychology behind her conduct alters everything. If you take one thing from this video, let it be this. Don't chase, don't panic, and don't try to control her feelings. Respond intelligently. Stay confident, maintain your own vitality, and give her the space she needs to sort through her feelings. That's what keeps her emotionally invested and makes you actually attractive. Her pushback isn't rejection, it's communication. And the men who succeed are the ones who can read it and act accordingly. I want to hear from you. Have you experienced this push and pull before? Did you ever misread her distance as disinterest? Drop a comment below and share your story. I'll be reading and engaging with you, since knowing this behavior is all about contemplation, progress, and learning to respond in ways that truly work. Remember, she's not losing interest, she's fighting feelings, and the men who acknowledge that become the ones ladies actually want to be with.